Yeah,
Stubborn?
really stubborn.
Yeah.
Really. I was going to say a little stubborn, and then I was like, no, it's a lie. I don't know. I don't like to rest until I have to. Don't be like me. If you're listening, do the opposite. If you're like, what would Christina do? Don't do it. Do the other thing. Because it's probably
and that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't listen to Christina Costello. Just do your own thing. Hello, and welcome back to Cold Read the Podcast. This is very much a last-minute intro, as our resident bootleg Gandalf is not feeling very well today and needs to rest. I, however, have just come out of maintenance, and can assure you that for the next 3 to 4 minutes, I will be glitch and error-free, probably. Last week, we discussed using EQ and compression to help attenuate your audio, keep your volume in check, and make it stand out against things like music or Foley. I'm sorry that I didn't have time to go into further detail on those things, but if you ever have any questions about it, please reach out to us, or even me directly, and I'll do my best to aid you. I oftentimes see the classic argument on Twitter and Reddit: USB microphone versus XLR microphone. People out there always talk about how
USB isn't good enough. You have to have industry standard equipment if you want to make a blah 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 blah.
Well, as an up-and-coming audio engineer, I am here to tell you, just use whatever the hell you want. It really doesn't matter when you're just starting out. When you want to learn an instrument, buying the most expensive guitar or set of drums isn't going to make you a better musician, and the same applies to voice acting. So, I have a bit of a surprise for everyone today. I got my hands on a blue Snowball USB microphone that has been sitting in my closet for about 3 years or so, and I want to see how it holds up against my XLR microphone, which is what I'm using to record this. But first, let's talk pros and cons of both. USB microphones overall are cheaper to purchase and are very easy to use. They're usually plug and play, meaning that you can plug it into your computer and be ready to use it in a minute or less. Whereas with an XLR mic, which already tends to be more expensive, you will require an interface to connect it to a computer. That being said, this, in my eyes, is actually advantageous. Here's why. In order to have the electrical signal coming from your microphone heard, a preamp is required to boost it and make it audible. Your audio interface is usually where your preamp is in the case of an XLR mic, and you can control the level of power you're boosting the signal with using the gain knob. USB mics, however, have the preamp installed within the shell of the microphone itself, and there is almost never a way to adjust it, with the exception of some mics that offer a gain reduction of -10 to -20 decibels on the low end, which really is only there to help filter out background noise such as cars on the road or neighbors that constantly bang on the walls. Wow, what a huge steaming dump of information you've just given us, Eldurrino, but what does it all mean? Well, I will tell you, my snarky little friend, it means that if you are just starting out, there is absolutely nothing wrong with purchasing and using a USB microphone. They are easy to use and overall deliver a decent level of quality with proper room treatment. Again, please, always treat your room first and foremost before you look at upgrading your microphone. If you're looking to really take your voice acting game to the next level, however, you really should consider an XLR mic. Not only for the control, but generally, XLR mics will deliver better quality sound. So how about we just get into the examples already? For these recordings, I'm going to use one mic for one character and the other mic for the other character. I will still record in my booth using slight EQ and compression in order to even out the audio overall. Listen closely and see if you can tell which one is the USB mic and which is the XLR. Here we go.
Initiate. Cringe. You wanted me. Here I am.
I wanted to see what you'd do. And you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die. Then you let Dent take your place. Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
Where's Dent?
Those mob fools want you dead so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
Then why do you want to kill me?
Kill you? I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. No, you complete me.
You're garbage who kills for money.
Don't talk like one of them, you're not. Even if you'd like to be, to them, you're a freak. Like me. They just need you right now. As soon as they don't, they'll cast you out, like a leper.
Wasn't that a delightful and not cringeworthy scene at all? So, think you can tell the difference? Comment in the chat or leave us a comment below and tell us which one was which. Now then, let's move on to the show, featuring our fill-in host, Grim, Renara, and... Oh my god, future me! I have to tell you something important before the intro music kicks off! You have to listen to me! It's about your... Oh no. What happened?
You'll just have to find out, Eldurrino. You just have to find out.
I guess so. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you, and welcome to Cold Read, the podcast, a podcast by voice actors for voice actors. And today, we have the White Rabbit, Christina Costello. Finally! Woo! Hello, Christina. Good to have you here. Thank you so much for being here already. If you were listening to this, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any audio you want us to go over, please join us in our Discord. You can find that in the link below, as well as you can send it to our email, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. And with your permission, we will review it live on stream. We will give you as much constructive criticism as you can handle without being offended, I guess.
We've helped each other with it. We've helped other people with it. We will be very nice, we swear. It will be constructive. So don't be afraid. We're all here to help. This entire industry is a grind. So if we can help each other, people along the way, that's what we're here for.
Exactly. If you're listening to this, please feel free also to check us out on YouTube, Cold Read the Podcast. We have our fancy little overlay and whatnot, and you can see all of our lovely faces if you wish. The lovely faces made for voice acting. So,
voice for radio and a face for radio.
Exactly. With that being said, let's do our regular check-ins. And for those of you listening, unfortunately, Zamoody is not with us today. He had to be rushed to the hospital on Friday evening. He is quite under the weather. We do wish him the very best, however, and hope for a speedy recovery. So, in the meantime, we have our wonderful friend Grim filling in for Zamoody. Hello. How has your week been, sir?
Not too bad. Something we didn't cover was the fact that I did almost break my foot at work, which was always fun. For those that don't know, I work in a warehouse, and I did something that I've done hundreds of times, maybe even thousands of times. I placed a sheet inside a trailer and let go of it. All it should do is just slide down. But this one decides to slide towards me and bounce off my foot. No. I now have a bruise the size of a fairly large apple on my foot. And I was limping around for a little while, but I'm all right other than that. I have applied to some voice acting things, but so far, unfortunately, I haven't got them.
Sure. Well, as I understand, you've also been very busy. I guess,
with family, moving house, trying to learn to drive, and work being work. It's left me rushed off my feet, as it were.
Or foot singular.
And other people within your household also injuring themselves.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes, but I'll let someone else explain that what you did that last time.
Injuring themselves, Renara, thank you again for being here. How was your week?
Wow, considering I can't really remember much of this week, we're going to just assume that it went somewhat mediocrely. 3.6 Ronkin. But if anyone gets that reference, you are my people. No.
I guess that's not
for
me.
For those of you who are watching or can't watch, I will describe. Currently, I can't extend my hand fully right now because the massive gash that I had in my hand from, the previous, glass falling incident that we discussed, is mostly healed, but it's now healed very tightly. And so I can't really extend my little finger much. So I now look like I'm constantly a Bond villain, just, casually doing this every now and then. Well, I'm British, it works.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to slip back into your poshness and just kind of wave that around a little bit. Yeah. Honestly, it could be an entirely new, persona for you.
Oh, next demo reel,
There you go.
Gonna catch up on a few other things. I know, started my my sort of demo reel service thing and everything. I will help you produce your demo reel from start to finish. And even if I can't perhaps maybe do the audio editing or the script writing, I will definitely make sure you get to somebody who can do that for fair rates. And I will be from start to finish. If you have absolutely no idea where to start, I've already had one client. You'll have a complete document at the end of it and everything. So if you'd be interested, contact me, email, anything like that. I've got my website and everything. Yay. This is how awkwardly I plug shit. Yeah.
Feel free to drop where people can reach you, Renara, such as renarahawke@gmail.com.
Thank you. As well as the fact I have a Patreon for all of the audio dramas that I produce over on YouTube. So I will not take up too much time with that because I'm an awkward person and I'm British. Waiting to hear back from the Fallout mod that I'm excited to start. They basically said I'm involved. They just need to give me roles at the minute. They're allocating. So looking forward to that. Have been trying to do bits and pieces here, there and everywhere, done some more for my Skywind. I'm slowly but surely getting back into doing that, but considering it's been so bloody stressful, I've always found I can't access the emotions correctly because I've been too stressed to do that. But overall, the wheels are starting to turn once more, and hopefully there'll be a bit more down the pipeline.
Sure. Well, again, thank you for being here. It's good to see you, and good to see that your hand is no longer bandaged up. Just work that into your overall day-to-day business. That's what I try to do, anytime something ridiculous happens to me. Anyways.
How was your week, Eldurrino?
Oh, hey, thanks for asking. I know I'm not Zamoody, but thank you for asking. My week was also very stressful. I have some issues with a colleague of mine at my full-time job, and fortunately, everything has been working out just fine up until as of recently, where the threatening to put this coworker back in the office with me, and I can't stand to be around them for longer than 10 seconds at a time. So we will see where that goes. My boss tells me that it's not going to happen. I don't know how much I believe that, but we will see. On the bright side, however, as of Friday evening, so the first demo reel, aside from myself, that I have produced was for Zamoody. I have now done 2 of his reels, or rather I've done 1 and I'm working on the second one. But aside from that, I was approached by my first I don't know who you are person, and they have now commissioned me for a character reel. So,
heck yeah.
Super excited for that because I've been really waiting for the opportunity to utilize all the stuff that I've been learning for the past 6 months. So, that's going swimmingly. I have to send over scripts later after I'm done with them, and then we'll do the audio stuff afterward. So that took place. I don't believe I really did much of anything else. I'm still very much addicted to Hades. That game has a lock on my heart, which is strange because I always thought that Destiny was my
I know, it's very strange to hear you start,
everlasting love in video games, but
I approve because Destiny's a very bad game, but
I mean, as a game, no. As a business model, it's atrocious. It's mobile game levels of monetization. That's for another time, though. Follow us on Twitter if you want to see some really great hot takes on video games. Speaking of video games, if you are joining us, and you probably saw the title of this podcast, we are joined by Christina Costello, otherwise known as Collie from Genshin Impact, Christina.
I did say it right.
Hi. Hello.
Yes, you did. How has your week been?
Oh, it's been a week. If you are tuning in and you follow me on Twitter, I have kidney stones again. Woo! I'm so exciting and cool. Amazing. Oh my gosh, life is so neat. And I've been working anyway because I don't like to take time off because I'm a little not
stubborn.
Yeah,
stubborn?
Really stubborn.
Yeah.
Really. I was going to say a little stubborn, and then I was like, no, it's a lie. I don't know. I don't like to rest until I have to. Don't be like me. If you're listening, do the opposite. If you're like, what would Christina do? Don't do it. Do the other thing because it's probably
and that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't listen to Christina Costello. Just do your own thing.
Yeah, don't. At least in regards of like resting. I like to say like other things. I'm a nice person. But yeah, don't listen to me about resting. You should rest. Ignore what I do, and yeah, do as I say. Don't do as I do.
I can feel the daggers of Grimm's eyes staring up through the floor at me.
What? No.
Because I do the same thing, Christina. I'll rest when I'm dead, is what
yes, is the constant phrase I hear about 3 times a week.
Yeah, it's you know, sometimes you just like, it's fun to be busy. I can't explain it. I like the thing I do. I like what I do for work, so I want to keep doing it. And if I feel like garbage, I will complain and then go and do the thing still.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'm going to do it.
That's exactly like my life the last like 2 months. I'm like, I'm going to work and I'm going to really like it in the moment. And then I'm going to feel like garbage and I'm going to blame myself. Great. Let's do it.
Nice.
Exactly.
Let's do it anyway.
Classic route to burnout. Fantastic.
Yeah. I rest when I really need to. I swear. I do pay attention, but I don't know. When you have something like a chronic illness, you're like, I don't feel well 90% of the time. If I rest 90% of the time, I can't do the thing I like. I just wait till my body's mad at me, and then I rest.
Wait till it's grumpy rather than overtly mad at you, and then you go, okay, you're just kind of grumpy. I can get away with this now. Okay.
Exactly. You're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you not like the soul that's currently inhabiting you?
Can you tolerate it just for a little? Okay, I'm going to go do this now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get me. I like it.
Well, Christina, thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
So, on to the interview. So tell us, please, how did you get started in voice acting?
Yeah, absolutely. I started, I feel like, with a good chunk of people during the pandemic. I came from on camera. I grew up wanting to do on camera. That was something I really liked. Unfortunately, I am, as we just discussed, wildly unhealthy, and those two didn't mix the way you can get away with it with voiceover. And I kind of, very slowly, because I'm stubborn, started to realize, I'm really not feeling well. I did all this training. I want to do something. I can't do voice acting. It's not remote friendly. It's not accessible. I'm in Massachusetts. The pandemic hit and suddenly things were accessible. And I kind of just dove in because I was fortunate enough to already have done a lot of core acting training through doing on camera. And I stole my boyfriend's equipment when I first started. He is a musician, so he already had like an XLR mic and the interface. And I said, what do you think if I did voice acting? Super supportive. Said, oh my gosh, yeah, of course you should do it. That's great. I'm like, cool. I'm not going to buy anything because you have it. Is that cool? And I feel like it was too late to say no in the conversation.
Yeah,
So
too much support had already been applied. Yeah, go on, do it.
Yeah, it was too late. So I borrowed, I'm going to say borrowed, a lot of stuff. And now I've replaced it. I've bought my own interface 3 years in, my own microphone, and now we share. So I did it. I paid back, kind of. But that's how I did it. It was just a weird timing. I think everybody says like voice acting's a lot of luck and timing as well as like talent. It's so true. It's so much timing. It's weird. Stuff either like works or doesn't. That's kind of my experience. And I just dove in, I think, at the right time and the right place. And I had the right person to take the equipment from.
Well, it's good to hear because, you were just talking about, being stubborn, never wanting to take a break. And fortunately, that plays into your favor because you can always be on the lookout for auditions. So timing then becomes like less of a factor. And I know I've certainly seen some roles pop up here and there that I'm like, that looks like a cool project, but I don't really have the time for that. I got this other thing to do. And then all of a sudden, like a year later, Markiplier and Jacksepticeye are playing this horror game. And I was like, oh man, I should have auditioned for that shit.
Yeah, immediate regret.
Yes, exactly. Well, usually we like to ask our guests what equipment they start off with. And it usually leads into, I started with a Blue Yeti, or I started with a headset mic, but you're way ahead of the curve. You're starting off with like musician level equipment. That's pretty cool.
I definitely lucked out. I think that really played into the fact that I was able to do things at seemingly like a quicker pace, because I didn't have to. Eventually, the stuff I have now, I had to invest in, but just starting out, I had a good setup for starting out, and I was very lucky to have that. And like I said, my partner Brian is a musician, so he knew how to make the room sound good. I didn't have to start from total scratch, so I definitely was right place at the right time, right person to steal knowledge from.
So, during your time in the when you were doing in-person acting and before your voice actor's journey, were you doing that full time, or were you doing other things to supplement that? And have you been able to completely go from on screen to completely full time voice work?
Absolutely.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Oh, I love this. Okay. Sorry, I think out loud. That's like my...
No, me too. It's great. It's fine.
Okay. We get along well. I like this. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Go for it.
I started, when I did on camera, I had to supplement income. I was actually a pharmacy tech and then a lead pharmacy tech for a few years, which is how I met Brian, because we both were pharmacy techs. So that helped my voiceover career eventually. Good move, me.
Nice.
And
world works in mysterious ways.
It does, right? It's wild. But I was able to, now I do voiceover full time. This is what I do. It took a while. Definitely on camera was hit or miss. I think a little bit more. I've had more luck in voice acting. I look very young. I'm in my late 20s. I sound very young. That can be okay for on camera, but they don't know what to do with you when you're not like a celebrity that looks young. You're just a normal person that looks young. They're like, okay. But with voice acting, I play teenagers and children. And my voice is not going to change. So something that I really felt held me back in on camera has helped me immensely with voiceover.
Oh, sure. You found there's much more scope on variety of roles that you can access in voice work rather than what I was going to say is, has any on, like, because quite often people have archetypes or things that their voice naturally suits to. Yours sounds definitely a lot younger and everything like that. Has any on camera, has that sort of translated from on camera to off camera? Have you found that there are some similarities in that still, or has the stuff that you did on camera, was that completely different to what you've now done, if that makes any sense?
No, that makes total sense.
Cool. Okay.
No, I got you. I really, on camera, I was usually a older high school student or a young college student, which is about the age I was when I was pursuing it.
Okay.
And it was more likely I would be rejected because my voice didn't fit what they thought an adult would sound like. But that's sorry, that's what comes out of my mouth. I can change that for voice acting. For some reason, I never thought about it for on camera. I was just offended. I was like, okay, fine, whatever.
That's kind of what happens when you're in your young 20s, though.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of just are like, what? You don't like who I am? Well, F off, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. You're like,
I don't need to
fine.
change. You need to change.
Exactly. So I definitely feel like on camera, it was way more limiting for me, but doing voiceover, it's been fantastic. And just an entirely different world. I definitely feel like voiceover is more accessible because I am disabled and that's just who I am. I have lungs that don't work that well, and on camera is not really great for resting. I worked 12-hour days where they were like, yeah, you can sit for 5 minutes, of course. I'm like, cool, thank you, I'm healed.
Yeah.
Sure,
amazing.
5 minutes is definitely going to be enough. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
I worked in the other side of the camera, so production and things like that. And even within that, I myself have my own stuff. And within there, they were just, exactly the same. It's like, yeah, sure, my hips definitely can withstand the long hours we need to stand up for. But hey. So empathizing completely on that front.
Yeah, it's definitely wild. It's like, oh, okay, well, maybe this isn't a world built for me the way that it could be. And I think that in voiceover, it's just been, I do more things than I could dream about. Like I said, this is my full-time job. I never thought that would be the case, especially for Massachusetts. So it's wild.
So where? Okay, you want to go for it?
Yeah, just small snippet. I'm from Minnesota, the place where nothing ever happens, and I'm going to the stars. So I believe you can do the same.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, where did you start looking for did you have any connections within sort of the industry beforehand that you could go to, or did you start completely like, my brain said off the books, but it was like completely just, like finding the sites. How did you start to source, and how did your journey start in that regard?
And also, do you pay your taxes, or is this all off the books?
Oh, God.
The hard-hitting questions come out.
I do pay my taxes. I'm not happy about it, but I do it.
Responsibility.
I do the adult thing that makes my wallet sad, so I do that. No, I basically started over. I had no idea.
Okay.
Like, other than I had training, that's what I was able to carry over. I didn't really have connections in that sense.
Yeah.
I truly feel like I fell into it. The first job I ever did was working for like a children's nursery rhyme company, like on YouTube, like the ones you plop your children in front of and you're like, okay, bye. That was me singing to the children, and then the parents are like, oh my gosh, I hate this song. I was the voice they hated. So but I didn't have a demo reel at that point. All I had was a side job that I did when I was doing on camera, which was like dressing up as a fairy and doing like kids' birthday parties and like.
Oh, you were a birthday party princess.
Yeah, I used to do just little, generic named princesses and dress up as a fairy because I'm small. I'm 5 feet. Whatever, it works. It's a good height for a fairy. And that's the reel I had. It was like party performances. And I was like, well, this is all I have. You can say no. I don't have a demo reel yet. I don't know what I'm doing. And they were like, you sing the song. Your voice is high. Come on in. And that was the first job I got. But that taught me a lot about how to find other jobs and kind of like figure out the industry, because there was people that were within that company that were doing the thing. And that's what they did full time. Twitter was great for voice acting. I think the algorithm's weird now, so I feel like it's hard to see the things, but if you follow the right accounts, you can still find stuff. And networking, a lot of networking. I don't actually know how to network. If I had to tell somebody, I just try to be friends with people because that's my nature. To me, that's what networking is. I don't know what it really is.
Well, that's a large part of it.
It is, right? Okay.
It is. It's know people.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm doing it right. I'm like 3.5 years in, so I'm like, I hope I.
Yep. I can 100% say I wish somebody could have told me what networking was, because when you're younger, they kind of just sort of go, so if you want to do creative stuff, you need to be good at networking. Okay. And what is that? Networking. Okay, cool. But what is that? It's networking.
That's so true.
Yeah, you just
get out there and network.
Just work the nets, net the work. It's so easy.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I had no idea, because it's never really explained. They're like, just like network. I'm like, cool. I learned nothing from this conversation. at all. I've learned
I don't see
0.
how everyone's missing the point. Like, it's literally all you have to do is just network. Like, that's it.
just a network.
Just do it.
Easy.
To piggyback off of that, sorry, I don't.
Matt, you've got all the questions.
I'm sorry. Hey, I'm a teaching assistant. I've got to be on my feet. God damn it. But no, I see that you worked with PJ on his sort of the Cosmic Wonder thing.
Yes.
How did that come about? Because I follow PJ on YouTube. He was kind of like my introduction into how voice acting can kind of coincide with YouTube sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, how did that come about?
That was through just a Twitter audition. That was
right. Okay.
Yeah, that was through a Twitter audition. And it was for this character, Asai, who was like the cutest nugget ever. She's tiny, amazing, just like a baby, truly a baby in the form of a sea slime. And the audition was just like, basically be cute. Like, let's be real. And I decided to take a risk because one of the references was a song. And they were like, oh, this voice of this character singing the song. So I sang the song in the character voice.
Hey, okay.
That was what I decided to throw in at the end for the heck of it. And I was told that was what sold it for them.
Oh, yeah.
So I sometimes take a risk, sometimes don't. It's weird because you never know when you should. I have to say, even like years into this now, I still don't really know what I'm doing.
But
we're all winging it, okay? That's the secret.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you here, but I'm pretty sure you have like 31 IMDb credits. So to say you don't know what you're doing, I think is a bit of an overstatement.
I appreciate that. I really like that you think I know what I'm doing. I think I know what to do, but I don't know if it's right. Does that make more sense?
Good intuition, then. That's what it is. You've got a good feel for this, then.
Hold on, because I've kind of been in the same boat where I'm just like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but then I get compared to someone that actually doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
Touché.
And then I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm cool. Like I know exactly what's happening. So. What I'm trying to say is don't underestimate yourself, Christina.
Thank you. I appreciate
Call
that.
back to the original episodes of Cold Read, Imposter Syndrome.
Yes.
You do fit in.
Yes.
That's true.
You are amongst voice actors. You are a voice actor.
Yes, exactly.
Don't let, not so much even people, don't let just off days make you think that, maybe I'm not so fantastic at this thing that I'm doing. Because, as in, clearly you are. You've got the actual facts of all these credits to look back on.
Exactly.
That's so sweet. I like to think that this is going to sound like really weird advice. I know I say I don't 100% know what I'm doing, and that is true. I don't think anybody knows 100% what you're doing. There's no way to know you're 100% on track in the creative field because things change constantly. But the one thing I know I'm good at is having fun. Everything I have booked, I've had fun during the audition. And I can tell you right now that if I do an audition and I'm like, the acting, I don't know if that's there, but man, that was fun. That is usually what I will book.
True. Yeah.
Because that's when it's natural and real. So sometimes I think not having a systematic approach to things works a little bit better because it's natural and you're having a good time. And that choice can teach us.
Oh, yeah.
This is true. I think,
and it will definitely help when it comes across in the actual recording. I imagine people will feel that energy as well. Yeah. So it will probably help you score a lot more if you pick the ones that you go, maybe it wasn't my finest work, but I really enjoyed it. And then the person listening to it will go, oh, this one stands out, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's because it has soul in it, unlike AI. Just saying. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I worked for a corporation for 5 years. I don't know what that word means.
Joy, happiness, that's a long distant memory.
It's a lie.
Oh, do I understand that? Before voice acting, I was working for
because you worked for Big Pharma.
Yeah, I worked for a certain 3-letter pharmacy. So, that was
spicy.
That was fun.
Get into the pre-voice acting employment. That should be fun.
Oh, yeah. When I was sad a lot.
Yep. God, that's too real. Renara, you're going to say something?
I do.
Please tear us away from this existential crisis that's about to form.
I will attempt to, but we'll try. Question. Have you, considering the rise of, voices AI and the currently, the doom on the horizon that it might be AI, have you been approached to do any sort of form of voice packets for text-to-speech or anything like that? Or have you not? And secondly, do you think do you think this is that AI would be a good thing for voice actors, or is it something we need to fight against? Like, should we be going with it, or should we be going, no, don't? Sorry, that's two questions. I agree. I understand, but
that's okay. I say no to those, so I have never auditioned for them, personally. And I don't know. I feel like technology, there's a part of us that should learn and grow with things to use it to our advantage. But there's also, I've voice calling Genshin Impact. Well, guess what people have done? They've taken my voice and used it for AI, and I've had to fight it because it's not my words, and it's not things I would say, and it's not honestly appropriate. And I don't like that. And it feels like really unsettling.
It's invasive.
It's
almost.
very invasive. It made me really anxious. I had to deal with it, and I didn't want to, but it made me so beyond stressed out. I don't think anybody should be doing anything without somebody's permission.
Yeah.
I think that's not cool. I don't think that we should be using AI to be like, man, I wish this character said more. I'm going to make them say this awful thing. Hee hee. That's not cool, because that's our voice, and that's a part of us.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't like it. I don't know enough about the future to give an honest opinion if I think we can work with it. But I do think that we need to protect ourselves, and we deserve to be protected, because this is a part of us. Our voice is everybody's voice is unique to them. Yeah. It is something that only we can bring. Only someone can do an impression of me. That's great. I love that. That's so cool.
But not
only
you.
I can bring only I can bring my heart and soul into a performance, and I don't feel comfortable with somebody trying to emulate me, who I am at my core. I think that's a little icky, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Because we've had people approach, I've had people approach and ask me, because I had someone who, similar, he was kind of getting into voice work, and he already had a sort of, we'll say a platform, some sort of took up space on the internet. I think that's appropriate. And he was getting fans sort of sending in some bits of people. Look what I did. I took your voice and did this. And he asked us, unsure as to what that was good, what that was, whether that was good or bad, or how should I deal with this? And I've always been erring on the side of caution with this, because since this started being a small thing, we've covered it on Cold Read and followed it as it goes. And it's just the thing of be very careful with that sort of thing. Unfortunately, the law is we don't own the copyright to our own voices, which I find very strange. But the performance is copyrighted. Yes. So technically, your lines from Genshin Impact are actually protected under the copyright.
Yes.
Because
it got taken down.
Yeah. So, but no. Sorry, I like to ask these questions because I like to hear what other voice actors are in this, because it's something that I think all of us have our own opinions on and things like that. But again, it's going to be something that impacts all of us and eventually and see what's going on. So I don't know. I like to check in with other people to see where they sit and whether they've had experiences and perhaps what they would advise other people if they've had these experiences, just so we can all help safeguard each other, if that makes any sense. Sort of thing.
Absolutely. I think it's very interesting. I think on the side of, accessibility and doing things so people who cannot speak can use voices and things like that, I think is really special and important. But I think that in my opinion, there's a line between something that helps somebody genuinely and taking something that's not yours. That's kind of where I'm at. I definitely am trying to follow it and learn more about it. I don't think it's going to just go away because I said, that's icky. So
if we wish hard enough, it'll just go away.
No. If all of me saying that's icky, everybody would be like, oh no, She said it was icky. So
she said the I word.
I gotta stop.
I'm going to do the thing where I start going stum for a minute because I have the nasty habit of rambles a little bit. So, boys,
you've been asking great questions.
No, your questions are amazing.
Honestly, it makes my job a lot easier because I was like, oh no, I gotta steer this entire episode. What am I gonna do? And then
no,
it's like I've got like a billion questions. So thank you so much, Renara. You're saving my bacon here. Wait, do the British believe in bacon? I don't.
Yes.
No, it's the Americans that believe we're not real. That's the thing. Okay, we believe in bacon.
That's one individual out of like 7 million or something. So going back to you were talking about originally pursuing on-screen acting. So when you made the transition from on-screen acting to voice acting, is there any specific like talents or little tips or tricks that you learned while doing on-camera acting that directly translated to voice acting or just like overall helped it?
Yeah. So I did a lot of training with script analysis when I was pursuing on camera. Because I started pursuing as a teenager. So that's did a lot of classes, traveled to LA to do like a boot camp. I was very, very into like script analysis and breaking down breakdowns. So that's something I've been able to carry with me to understand a character's motive and why they're acting the way they are. And I always if I don't know the backstory of a character, I will give them a backstory so that it carries my performance. Even if I'm wrong, I do not care. As long as I am doing something that makes me make a choice in my acting that will be different, hopefully, or I'll make something unique to me. That's a skill that I've definitely carried through that I do think has helped me. I have one skill that's kind of useless, I think, but it helps me personally, and that's I can memorize a script very well. I learned how to memorize things. So when I'm doing...
Useless?
Well, okay, hold on. I wrote the script in front of you. So, it feels a little redundant. But it's amazing for ADR work.
Yes.
Because I know the line. So I don't have to look, usually. That has saved my butt. So it's useful in some scenarios, and some I'm like reading a commercial copy, and I'm like, no one cares if I can say it by heart. Like, it's not gonna change anything because we're gonna take it line by line anyway.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
It's definitely something that has helped me with like dub work specifically.
Sure.
And I think that's it.
I've noticed you've done I guess quite a few dubs now for like Crunchyroll and Funimation and whatnot, right?
I have. Yeah, that was definitely more towards the peak of like remote recording. But I do some stuff here and there still. I do some dubbing. So
do you have a specific facet within voice acting, whether that be like dubbing or character work, video game work? Do you have a preference as to what's your favorite?
I don't know if it's really like my favorite. Right now, I work in video games just the most. It just happens to be what I'm connecting with the most. I do really love, I have a soft spot for children's animation. That's something that I just would love to be a part of, like a preschool show, something that
I can see.
Helps children learn and grow. I think that'd be really cool to experience. But I'm mostly working in video games.
Are you? I was just saying, are you like the twin version of me, just from America?
I think so.
I think I think so.
Seems
I think that's what
completely opposite, like voices, completely opposite ranges. But like I work with teens, and I I've wanted to do that as well. Like hope my voice acting help teach and do other things. So this is. It's that sort of weird coincidence things that I'm kind of going, oh, okay, cool, this is awesome, but like, whoa, okay, universe, I like it. Would you say that it's because? Oh, sorry,
you're doing it again.
I'm doing it again.
Go ahead.
The amount of times I've just opened my mouth and just. It's because you can't see me. That's why.
No. Yeah. All I was gonna ask is, would you say that is because that's where you started, and so that's why it has a bit of a soft spot?
I think so. And I really like. Before I pursued on camera, I wanted to do voiceover. I just didn't see a way that was feasible from where I was. So I kind of moved to the thing that was close and that I could do because Boston has a pretty good film scene going on, and that was something I could do. But I have always loved animation and video games, and that stuff has always been so special to me. Like I said, I am somebody who is chronically ill. I'm disabled. I grew up watching a lot of TV, playing a lot of video games, and that was how I connected with people, and that's how I hung out with my friends because I didn't feel that well, but they would come play games still. It was just something special. So I feel very lucky to be able to do this.
Yeah. So has there been any roles so far that you have either auditioned for or even just saw in passing that you really think like, man, I really wish I got that role?
This is gonna sound cliche. I'm gonna say no, and the reason is I got really good at send and forget because I have really bad brain fog.
If it works, it works.
Yes, I legitimately forget. It's not like I forget because I'm so strong mentally. It's not that. It's because I don't have a very good memory. So like
that's fair, except when it comes to memorizing scripts.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I have like a unique. Yeah, if I really focus, I can remember. But if I tell myself, "Oh, I don't want to stress about this. I need to forget it,"
brain just goes.
It has gone to the point where I've booked stuff and I've gone, "Where's the file? Where's the file? What was the voice? What was the voice? Did I save this audition? Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "Do you have a reference? Of what I sent by any chance? Maybe." Was it high voice number 3 or 4?
Was it this high or is it this high? Or
was I an adult by a chance? Was it lower? No? Okay. So what was it?
So, speaking of, I guess like the quote unquote archetypes you can fit. Have you ever like considered taking any type of training to help broaden your range, maybe to even try to bring some more like depth to your voice, so that you could start hitting like hit more strongly while still being lower in your overall tone? I hope that makes sense.
No, that does. I actually have voiced people that have gone all the way up here to people that have go all the way down here to people that are strong and they're women and let's go. And it really, so I have voiced a very proud couple hot ladies. Love them.
Nice.
They're hot. That's cool. That's different from my voice type, but it's way lower in my range. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't pushed by some directors that felt that they knew that voice was in me. Which made me go practice and get there so I could do the role. So I'm very grateful that sometimes casting will hear something in your voice that you don't hear. So I voiced a couple really strong women. I just normally, this is just my natural voice. It's just where it sits, but it can go lower.
Have you ever thought about trying different like vocal textures? AKA, have you tried? When I say monster sounds, does that make sense? Because I can only speak for myself on that. I've recently tried to do like Argonian from Elder Scrolls, and that was my new experience. Have you ever tried or thought about going into that sort of area?
Yeah, a little bit. I've done it here and there. I've done a few. Usually, honestly, in the realm of creatures, it tends to be like haunted, ghost type characters is where I am able to pull my voice naturally with more ease. I voice a lot of small boys. I voice a lot of raspy kids. I definitely voice more than this range. And honestly, I book in this range a lot, but I have booked more in my lower range than I think people would expect.
Really?
So it'll be very interesting when stuff starts releasing and people are confused.
Wait, was that Collie? Why did they sound like that? Sorry,
that's what I'm waiting for. There's one character that is out in this game, Path to Nowhere, and her name's Serpent, and she has a very low voice. She's either high faking or like low and seductive. And so many people were like,
"Wait, what?
Was that you?"
Yeah.
Did they get two voice actors?
Are we sure that's you?
Like, oh, no, you voiced the high one. Who did the low? I'm like, me. Surprise! It's still me.
Yes.
So I like the confusion.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to get hiccups if I keep breathing in to like ask my questions. So I'll ask them now.
Go
Quickly. So, something I'm curious about is what led you to do TV work in the first place? Why were you drawn to the creative scene in the first place at all?
Yeah. I think it was from growing. I know it sounds it's so cliche. I can't help it. But like growing up in that environment and that being what brought me comfort made me want to do that for other people. ever since I was little, I wanted to do something that entertained people because that's what got me through a lot of hard times in my life. Because there were some points where I was told I was going to die. So there were some times in my life that were really intense, and things that brought me comfort were video games and TV shows and cartoons and happy things. And that's just...
Yeah, things didn't always have to be dark.
Yeah.
You didn't have to surround yourself with bad things. Yeah. Another question is, in this long, your career, have you come across any directors, any requests that have just seemed off, and how did you deal with them? People that rubbed you the wrong way or things like that?
Yeah, I've definitely dealt with more like projects where I was comfortable at the start, and then it kind of one of those, I guess bait and switch is the word I would use, where they're like, surprise, it's actually not appropriate. And it's like, okay, cool.
It seemed fine on the surface, but then suddenly weird requests come out of nowhere.
I've always just been perfectly honest. That's not the thing I'm comfortable with. And if they don't want to talk to me ever again, okay.
That's their loss, not yours.
What am I going to do? Because they weren't upfront with me. So it would be a little bit different if someone was upfront with me and then I decided, actually, I don't like it. Like, I'd be a lot more apologetic. But I try to be firm in what I'm comfortable with and what I want to put into the world, especially where a lot of the stuff I do is oriented towards kids. So I just try to be careful just out of my own preferences. But I've had some experiences where people have just been not so nice. And that's always an interesting thing to do, because it's like, okay, but I was nice. Why are you being mean?
Why?
Why?
Where did this come from?
Yeah, I've written out projects like that before. I've definitely just been like, all right, I'm just not going to communicate with you and get my work in and leave when I can. I have like brought concerns up. I've done both. It really depends on the level of the project, of where I'll bring my concerns and what I'll do. But for the most part, I've been lucky. Most people have been very upfront and very kind to me. I've really lucked out with mostly meeting a lot of very kind people. 90%, I would say.
Yeah, and it is 90%. It's just you do get, well, for want of a better term, weirdos that either fly off the handle for no reason or just have strange requests in their pockets.
Try to squeeze something in every now and
out of left field.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a lot of my other questions have already been answered because someone came out with 50 questions. But something I did want to ask, though, you've kind of given an answer to it, but I'll ask it anyway. Has the idea of doing theatre ever interested you?
Oh, yeah, I did theatre as a kid. And as a teenager, I did some, whether it was school theater or like after school theater, I did some theater growing up. I loved it. I would love to do more theater if I had time. I would definitely do it. It was one of my favorite things. I absolutely loved theater. It was super cool and a totally different world. But I think those skills too, you can go into voice acting a little easier, in my opinion, if you have done on-stage acting or training or theater acting or training. Because those skills, voice acting is acting.
There is crossover,
Yeah, I think sometimes we get lost in like the voice part. So we're like, oh no, I came from on camera. I can't do funny voices. What do I do? No, you just need to act. It's just that you're talking. You're not acting with your face. You're acting with your voice. So
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So we only have about 10 minutes left or so.
Wow.
Can't believe that hour has gone by already. So, since you have mentioned being such a cliche so many times this episode, I'm going to take the cliche route and ask you, how did you happen across the audition for Collie? And what do you think secured your role there?
My audition story is really weird, actually. So cool.
All right.
I love sharing it because it's a weird experience. I had no idea that I was auditioning for Genshin.
That's right.
No idea. The audition was in my inbox. Somebody had spoken to me and said, hey, I heard you do good children voices. Do you have your reel? And I said, all right, yeah, that's fine. Sent my reel, and heard nothing and went, okay. Got an audition a couple months later, and it was for, it looked like anime. That's it. That's like I'm very, if something has a code name, I fall for it. I'm very like, because anything can be an anime name, in my humble opinion. I grew up watching anime. Anything can be an anime name or anything. So like, it was something generic like Lilac Town, something weird, and I was like, it's a girl group. Got it. Like, that was the mindset I had immediately. I'm like, oh, cool. It's like a happy girl anime. That must be what this is. So I was totally wrong. not even kind of right. And I got the audition, and I went through, it was a few different characters, and I did them and was like, oh, these are really good. And what ended up being Kale was last, and I procrastinated, and I got sick. I had a kidney stone, but like one that it was bad enough that I needed to take medication.
Right.
And I thought, oh, well, I have nothing to lose. The other ones are good. So I'm just going to audition for this one. And I'm tired. I guess she's tired. And I sent it off and I heard nothing. And I heard later on that some people got callbacks and like did stuff. I did not. So like that audition to me was gone.
Yeah.
It went by, it was a month or whatever, and I was like, no girl group for me. Okay. And then I got an email that I booked something, and they still didn't tell me what it was. So I still didn't know it was Genshin. Started the session, and they were like, hey, do you know what game this is? And I was like, it's Lilac Town. What are you talking about? Duh. And they're like, no, that's not the real name. And I'm like, okay, well, you lied. I don't know what to tell you. Thanks for lying. They're like, this is Genshin Impact. This is Kale. I read the manga, Genshin Impact as a manga.
Okay.
Kale is the main character. I love Kale. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's so cool. Who's that? I don't know who that is. I'm really calm and collected.
Tell me more. Yeah.
And I think I fooled them for like 20 minutes, but they were going over, oh, it was really natural. We really liked, like, she's uncomfortable, and we can hear that with your acting. And I was like,
that was totally acting.
I was like, I'm very talented at acting. Thank you for noticing my skill set. It's definitely not that I was just physically uncomfortable. And we got through, and they were going over a backstory, and they were like, oh, let me double check. And I was like, I know what happens because I read the manga, and it's really... And I lost it. So they knew I was all in like 20 minutes in. They were like, okay, cool. That's good.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It was all very happenstance for Genshin. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea what I was auditioning for.
I feel like I've seen interviews with other Genshin Impact voices that have basically been the same. Like, no idea until the casting comes, and they're like, have you ever heard of Genshin Impact? And then they like shit their britches, like, holy crap.
Oh yeah, so, no idea.
So we have talked a lot about your past and your present. So let's talk about your future. Where do you see yourself coming up here in the next few years? What's next for you on the journey?
Great question. Cool. I love having a crisis on air. So let's know. I just hope I get to continue doing what I'm doing. I've been very fortunate to work full time. I hope that continues. I really would like to do more children's animation. I think that'd be really cool. And I have a goal to play a very annoying boy in like an anime game. That's what I want. Just a character that you're like, I cannot stand this kid. That's what I really like want. I think would be hilarious.
The punchable kid.
Yeah, the one where he's like, "Hey guys," and you're like, "Oh gosh, no."
One you want.
Yeah.
That one.
Give me your lunch money.
But it's Carly, but no.
Yeah. I really want them to be very annoying and important. That's like my two. Like, so you have to deal with them. Yeah, you have no choice.
Right. It's like the mini boss almost.
Yeah,
The final boy. The final boy. He has to survive to the end.
The final boy.
Yeah.
Final boy.
That's an anime title.
It is, exactly. Anything could be an anime title, I'm telling you. But
it is true. But there was we had Shakira Dunn on not too long ago, and she had mentioned she was in a work about a combat butler. I guess someone who is the help that carries a sword as well. It was. Okay. I was like, "There's no way this is real," and it certainly was. And then I just have to remember that, as you said, yes, basically anything can be an anime title. You know, my cat's litter box came to life and started a harem or something. I don't know.
No, anything. Truly anything.
That was probably the weirdest thing I've ever said in my entire life.
Too late. It's been recorded. Congrats.
That's certainly unique. That needs clipped.
I love it. All right.
Perfect.
With that being said, so
I love this.
Imagine, if you will, you can go back in time to your younger self, even if it was only 3, 4, 5 years ago. What one bit of advice would you give to your younger self in regards to voice acting?
Don't compare your journey to anybody else, because it is very easy to look online and we all share our wins because we want to celebrate together, and that's a beautiful thing. But you can get lost in seeing all those wins when you're not currently feeling like you're winning. It's very easy to compare yourself and go, they're younger than me. They're only a week older than me. I'm not there. It doesn't matter. Everybody's journey is different. And that's okay. And that's what gives us our unique perspective and our voice.
Very well said. I like that.
That's really good advice.
Thank you. Yeah. I was very guilty of being like, I started later in life for my mindset because I was sick and I kept going, if I was able-bodied, I'd be better off. It really ate at me.
Yeah, falling into that.
Yeah, and to really just go, you know what? I have a unique perspective I can give. I can fight for accessibility. I have something unique to give with my life experience is a much healthier mindset than being like, man, I wish my lungs worked better. Like, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It won't make you happy. So just don't compare yourself.
Basically have to, play with the hand you're dealt.
Exactly. And it's okay. It gives you a unique perspective. It's your strength. The things you go through that you feel like aren't fair and are hard make you unique, and they make you you. And you also don't know what everybody else is going through. Yeah, so-and-so posted 5 wins. They've been rejected for 10 years and you had no idea.
Yeah.
You don't know what it took to get that win.
Mm-hmm.
So why compare? There's no... Yeah.
Couldn't have
Very
done it
well
by
said.
myself.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Would you say, say someone tomorrow comes up to you and asks, what's the first thing that I should do to get into voice acting? What advice would you have for them?
I'm a big fan of D. Bradley Baker's website, that I want to be a voiceactor.com, because it is so thorough. It has more advice than I could ever give. And it's right. I don't know how to say it. Everything. He gives fantastic advice. He breaks down having a home studio versus traveling. It's all there for you to figure out your path. And it gives you that opportunity. I give that website to literally everybody that asks me, because I think it's good. I think half of them think it's a fake website and don't ever click on it, which is sad. Just because it sounds like I wrote it, because it says I want to be a voice actor. they're like, oh, okay, Christina, thanks for not caring. I'm like, no, it's real. Just click the site. It's amazing. Yeah. Please believe me. I was given that when I first started. Somebody gave me that website. I clicked it and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole career out there. Right. And I can do it. So that's always my advice. That, and it's going to be hard. And it's okay that it's hard. And you need to know that, like, the odds are you're not going to wake up, say, I'm a voice actor, and book a million jobs. It's just not. And that's okay. And knowing that there will be wins, hopefully will carry you through. But being aware that there are a lot of rejections. I get rejected like every day.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just a part of it.
Yeah, it's just what we deal with. And, it's hard. It helps if you have a bad memory. So, pro tip, if you just happen to have brain fog, you will probably excel a little bit more in this, because it's definitely helped me.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Never give up, and D. Bradley Baker is not clickbait.
Yep, there you go.
Thank you. Yes, I am not lying when I give you that website. Click it, please.
Promise, it's not adware. Co-hosts, any final questions for Christina before we wrap?
No, I think you've answered all our questions really thoroughly. Oh, yeah, hang on. There's a worm.
There's a worm.
Microwave.
if you could have it arrive in your inbox, what would be the ultimate role that you've never had the opportunity to go for so far? If that thing arrived in your inbox, what would that look like?
I'd be a magical girl. I want to play a magical girl.
Nice.
Like, for a childhood me that grew up watching like Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
And Cardcaptor Sakura, I want to be a magical girl. That's definitely like a little piece of my heart will always be like, please let her have a transformation. please, I beg of you. Actually, one of my Prince of Kale is a magical girl version of Kale.
Oh, there you go.
Because I wanted it so badly.
Well, fingers crossed this is going to go out into the world. Someone will see it and it will arrive in your inbox at some point.
Yes. The role will be created just because you spoke it into the ether.
You never know, all right? Okay?
That is true.
Is a magical place.
Send out good feelings. Yeah, good feelings will come back.
No, that's true. I wanted to be in Genshin longer than I'd like to admit.
And there you go.
And that audition eventually came, so...
Very nice.
I didn't know it was Genshin, so it's not like I did anything to help myself or do better, but, it did come. I just didn't know.
Oh, goodness. Grim, any final questions?
No. You've answered really thoroughly.
Thank you.
But also your advice, I think, is something that a lot of people should listen to, because a lot of people that I think we've had in the past have always been, it'll be hard, and they leave it there rather than going, it'll be hard, but that is okay. As in,
thank you.
You will get there. You just have to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's true. I've definitely heard it's been hard a lot. But you have to know, like, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's worth it if you want it. That's it.
There you go.
Wow.
All right. Last two questions for you. These are very short, so get ready. But they are the most important questions of the entire interview. So, first off, how many hours have you put into Genshin Impact? And be honest.
Playing.
Yes, just hours. We won't talk about money. How much money you've invested into it, but how much time have you spent playing it approximately?
Too long. Too long.
I'm sorry, I'm under NDA. I cannot discuss.
Here's the real issue. I'm so wildly behind on Genshin still. Like, I have not got to where Kale is. I haven't got to Sumeru because I get distracted every time I start it. I do every side quest possible. I ignore what I have to do because I have Kale and she's C6, and I'm like, doesn't matter, she's here, I'm done. I did it. I did what I was supposed to do. Now I'm gonna run around and shoot arrows for hours and then restart the game and forget what I'm doing.
I feel you there.
So many hours of wandering. They're not even like productive hours. They're just me wandering.
No, that's pretty much how I was. I think I addictively played it up until I rolled for Ayato, I think, and I got into like C2, and I was like, that's good enough. I'm done with this game.
It's expensive. No, it's like...
Oh, it's horribly expensive.
No, Kale came out, and I was like, gave you your money back. You're welcome.
Yeah, right. That's the trap.
I might actually get Genshin Impact now. I might actually
you can play it for free.
I might actually start playing it.
It's really fun, and it's literally, I wander around because I want to. It's so fun to just like get lost in that world. That's my problem with Breath of the Wild too, though. I'm not done, and the game comes out in 2 weeks, so now I have to like finish the other game I'm playing. It's not good.
No, you actually have to play for the story.
I know. What the heck? I like to just wander.
Yeah. All right. Last question.
Yep.
What is your favorite pizza topping?
Ooh. Single? Like one pizza topping? Or like if I
can be multiple.
Pizza?
Just whatever, like what's your go-to pizza?
Yeah.
I like to do onions and peppers, but I'm lactose intolerant, so it's provolone cheese instead of mozzarella.
Oh, okay.
That's my tip because it does not hurt my tummy.
Nice. Wrong answer, but nice.
Hey, that's my preference. There's no wrong preference. What's your favorite?
The correct answer is pepperoni, bacon, jalapeno.
No. I do like bacon. I don't like the texture of pepperoni. It's really weird. I know that's a weird...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
the
you.
texture?
Thank you.
Yes.
I can eat it like separately, but not on pizza.
Yeah, it's a weird texture combination. Yeah.
Is it
high five.
too oily?
Go. Give a high five. High five.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel right. I can't, I don't know. I just don't like it. It's a weird texture combination in my brain.
That's a new one. I mean, that's a new answer.
I can't explain it. I'm sorry. I wish I had a real answer for you because I love bacon on pizza. I think that is very pleasing. But I don't like pepperoni on pizza. I'm sorry. I do like jalapenos
Well, with
too.
that said, folks, thank you so much for joining
Crushing my
us.
dreams and making the... Thanks, Christina, for ruining my life. Okay, let's end this.
Christina Costello, the pepperoni hater.
Sorry.
Hey, don't worry, Christina. I mean, I'll stand with you. It's fine. We're good.
There you go.
Thank
And normally
you.
we would have lovely outro music prepared, but I don't in this case, so we're adding it in post. So everyone pretend like there's a big instrumental swell that goes, "Aww." All right, and thank you once again, Christina, for joining us on this episode. Such an absolute delight talking to you and getting to know you. Thank you so much for all of your great advice. And you started off this whole thing and said, don't listen to anything I say for the next hour.
Yes.
So,
you want to... resting.
Okay. Fair enough.
Just about resting. No, I said do as I say, not as I do. See? And I'm so right. Do as I say, not as I do.
But you're successful, so...
But my body hurts.
Her path is different to everyone else's path, so stop it, Elder. You're comparing. Stop.
I'm just saying, like, you know, you're on an advice show. Don't tell people to not listen to you, because that kind of counteracts the whole point of this show. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, listener, for listening. If you would like to see the video version of our podcast, please go over to YouTube /ColdReadthePodcast. You can watch the video version, and this will be up tomorrow, Monday, April 30th, I believe, at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So you can watch it again and hang out with us and see what we were doing offline, because we're not doing this live today, unfortunately. If you'd like to join in on the conversation, please come join our Discord server.
Yes.
We have daily memes that was uploaded by Fire Brimstone. They're always usually fantastic. I've certainly had my quips with the low effort memes, but I think he has acknowledged that and he's stepped up his game, so I'll give him props there. Lastly, if you have any audio that you would like us to review, we love providing constructive criticism to you. Please feel free to submit it to us either through our Discord. There's a channel for dropping audio, or you can email it to us, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. And with your permission, we will review it on an episode, and we will do our best to help you out, because that's what we love doing. We love giving unsolicited advice. So, with that being said, let's run over our affirmations real quick. So we'll start with Christina on this one. Give a little quip of good advice to our listeners.
I gave good advice. More advice?
Just a small thing.
No,
You want even more?
Remember to find joy in everything you do.
There you go. Grim? Renara?
Good affirmation. No, hang on. No. Even when things go absolutely miserably, which, sometimes they will, keep going, because you won't get out of that pit of misery if you just stop there and look at the sights of misery and everything going wrong. If you stop and stare at it, you will just get stuck. You actually need to keep going to get out of it.
There you go. Renara?
Your feelings are valid, and whatever you're feeling right now is probably appropriate. If you're feeling sad and you need to feel sad, feel sad. But if you're also happy, acknowledge the fact that you can be happy in the moment. You can be happy now. It's okay. You can be. You're allowed to be. And your journey is your own, like Christina said. Don't compare yourself to others like I did to hers when I saw her IMDb. But we all start somewhere, and starting somewhere is the hardest part. So just start. Just do it. Don't let that go past. Just give it a try. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. Like my Black Desert audition, but hey. Your story and your path is your own, and you are beholden to nobody but yourself. So be nice to yourself.
There you go. And I will say what I always say because I can't think of anything else to say. Remember to drink your water. And we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.